5 easy to remember tips for weight loss. First, we're going to start with nutrition. It is always calories in versus calories out. The one thing that you want to remember is there is a 2011 study that was published by Stanford University. The doctor's name was Chris Gardner, and it was published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. This is a very high-level journal. And to have a study entered and accepted into the Journal of the American Medical Association means that it's worth its weight in gold. Now, this is also a cohort study, which means that it was done over a very long period of time. And so here's what Dr. Gardner determined. It does not matter what you eat. It is always calories in versus calories out. You can eat anything you want. As long as you are ingesting fewer calories than you are burning, you are going to lose weight. Now the question is it sustainable? That's totally up to you. And that's where number 2 comes in, macros. So number 1, calorie deficit, just a small one. Doesn't have to be huge because the bigger it gets, the more likely you are to rebound and go back to your old behavioral patterns. So number 1, calories. Number 2, macros. So macros are the arrangement of protein, carbohydrates, and also fats. And we use percentages to determine how much of each macronutrient you're going to ingest. And of course, this is within that slight calorie deficit that you are already in. The quick way to see progress is stay with moderate protein. And then what we want to do is either drop the refined sugars and the refined carbohydrates out, replace it with cruciferous veggies, or keep the carbs in, go complex carbs instead of simple carbs. And in that process, if we're taking the carbohydrates out and we're going with cruciferous veggies, we want to increase our healthy fat sources. So these are things like omega-3s and omega-6s. So fish, if you're pescatarian or if you're eating meat, fish is a phenomenal source of omega-3s. However, we can also get healthy fat sources from avocados, avocado oil, olives, olive oil, chia seeds, hemp seeds. There's just a number of unlimited healthy fat sources. What we want to do is try to stay away from dairy and saturated fats, because what this actually ends up being is a ketogenic nutrition plan, which is phenomenal when it comes to recompositioning the body and pulling body fat off of you. The other option, like I said, is to remove as many fats as possible and switch your carbohydrates from simple to complex. So simple carbohydrates are carbs that have an energy source already built into them. Complex carbs, they don't have that. And so they're low on what we call the glycemic index scale, the GI scale. And since they don't have an energy source built into them, your body has to use its own energy to break down those carbohydrates. Now, what does that do? Keeps the blood sugar low. It prevents huge insulin spikes, prevents large increases in blood sugar. But we still have to be conscious of what? Our caloric intake. And so in this process, again, lowering the fats. So, number 1, calories. Number 2, macros. And the arrangements, options, keep your protein the same, pull carbs out, increase fats, or switch your carbs from simple to complex, lower the fats. Now, number 3 is twofold. So we have 3 and 4 we're going to squish together. It's cardio. Why do we do cardio in the first place? Well, 1, it's healthy for us. It keeps our cardiovascular system working efficiently. It's great for our heart. It's great to help keep our triglyceride levels low, our cholesterol low, and our good cholesterol where it should be as well. We don't want to lower our HDL too much. But the effect that we're looking for when it comes to weight loss is, again, calories. And so with cardiovascular exercise, if we do what's called low intensity steady state, that's about 60 to 75% of your maximum heart rate. If you do low intensity steady state, it reduces your hunger cravings. Now, it also helps to get you above and beyond the calories that you're intaking throughout the day. So we have what's called our resting energy. And that is the amount of calories our body burns when we're just sitting around, when we're sleeping, when our organs are just functioning, if we're typing at our desk, or if we're just going about our daily work routine. That's our resting energy. Our active energy is what we do when we exercise. When we put our heart into an aerobic or anaerobic state, and we burn more calories than we typically would in a short period of time. So with low intensity steady state, usually those are longer sessions, and the goal is about 26.6 minutes per the studies, 5 days a week. And it's good to know that cardio is 4 times more effective at weight loss than strength training. That's a 2012 Duke University study, and it was done with 234 participants. Again, cardio, 4 times more effective at weight loss than strength training. So budget your time accordingly. So option 1, 60 to 75% of your maximum heart rate, and you want to shoot for 26, 27 minutes, about 5 times a day. Slowly work up to that though. So that's one type of cardio. The other type of cardio is what we call high intensity interval training. This is where we use about 93 to 95% of our maximum heart rate for short intervals. So 30 seconds to a minute. And then we drop back down for the next 60 seconds at about 60% to 75% of our maximum heart rate. That's the goal. We rotate between those intervals. So if I'm walking on my treadmill, which you can't see it, but it's right here. If I'm walking on my treadmill, I will do a low intensity interval for 60 seconds. And then I'll kick the incline way up and pick up the pace just a little bit until my heart rate reaches 93 to 95% of its maximum. And I'll do that for 30 seconds to 60 seconds. And I rotate back and forth through those intervals, with the goal being about 8 to 12 intervals. So we have number 1, calories. Number 2, macros. Number 3, low intensity steady state. And number 4, high intensity steady state. The issue with high intensity steady state though is that if we do it every single day, we will increase our cortisol levels. So a lot of times what I end up doing with my clients is I will stagger low intensity steady state one day, and then the next day, HIIT training. Low intensity, HIIT, low intensity, HIIT. And I'll rotate back and forth so we don't overload you with cortisol levels. Now finally, and this is the most important tip I can give today, number 5, it's your why. 100% mindset. It's the compelling reason behind what you are doing. If you want to lose weight, you have to know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, what the emotion is behind what you are doing. You must go beyond the surface too. The most common whys that I hear when I work with my clients, I'm doing it for me. I want to be my very best self. I want to be healthy. I want to live a long time. I'm doing it for my kids. Those are great. They've got emotion behind them. Absolutely. But these are going to last you about a week, maybe a month if you're lucky. Why? It's because we've used them before. We have to go beyond the surface. We have to really search for the true emotion behind what we're doing. Emotion is the most powerful resource that humans have. So use it. Number 1, calories. Number 2, macros. Number 3, low intensity steady state. Number 4, high intensity interval training. And number 5, know your why. 5 tips right there. Go implement them. Go make progress.